Vic in Johnson Valley, California. Hey, Vic, what's up?
I love your show, Tom. How about Anything Goes Summer? You used to have that.
Yeah, we may end up there. We'll see.
Anyway, I was listening to one of those experts down in Florida, and he said sometimes ocean spray can seep through the concrete and deteriorate it. And I went, no, that's not. And then I got to thinking, if they're using foreign cement and foreign steel, it could deteriorate.
I don't think it's that, Vic. I think it's that it's not sealed. I mean, one of the things you do in that kind of an environment when you build with concrete is you seal it, you paint it really, really well, if they haven't maintained that building in 40 years, surprise, surprise.
Well, that's partially true, Tom. There's a thing called Portland cement, and the reason it's called Portland cement is because it sets up underwater, and it's a lot more expensive than just your run-of-the-mill or foreign cement. And if you use Portland cement to build, you don't have to worry about sealing.
Wasn't that what happened with the offshore drilling rig that went kaflooey down in the Gulf of Mexico, and that they had used the cheap cement in the on the outside of the pipe to seal that pipe when they should have used the more expensive cement that was resistant?
Right. I don't know anything about that, but
okay.
But
Deepwater Horizon.
If the contractor is going to put in thousands of yards of concrete, he might go for a $40 a yard as opposed to an $80 a yard Portland cement.
So that's the difference.
And I think every one of those buildings down there should be cored and find out what kind of concrete or cement is in the concrete.
Yeah, excellent point.
Anyway.
Excellent point. Thank you, Vic. It's a good one. James in Federal Way, Washington. Hey, James, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Tom. Just looking at the management of the Supreme Court and the way things worked out and came down today, just reflecting on Mitch McConnell's role in all this in the past many years, and it's appearing to me like he is winning a kind of old-time the Civil War on behalf of the Confederacy, or what you might want to call the oligarchy today, by maintaining a peon class. And we haven't had time to get past propaganda for the last 40 years. We're all working 2 jobs and 3 jobs, and it's all on behalf of the oligarchs, or maybe you want to compare them to the plantation owners. Well,
here's what I think is happening, James. There have been 2 competing narratives since the founding of our country about how a country should be run. The narrative that preceded America was you can't trust the average person, the serfs and the rabble. They don't know what they're doing. They're easily influenced. If you let everyone vote, you have what's called mob rule, and mob rule eventually will destroy a country because the people will just loot the treasury and, quack, quack, quack. And so what you've got to have is a ruling class, an expert ruling class. And who better to be the ruling class than the people, who better to figure out how to run a government than people who have figured out how to run a company and made $1 billion. So oligarchy is the most stable, effective, predictable, safe, long-term form of government. That's one line of thought. That's the line of thought that ultimately even John Adams kind of bought into, but was advocated by a few people even at the founding of the Republic. The other line of thought is that we're all wired for democracy. Democracy is in our soul, that most of nature is democratic, small d democratic, and that if you allow the maximum number of people to participate and vote, over time, what will average out is the very best outcome for society. And so we should have democracy. We now have 6 members of the Supreme Court who believe that oligarchy is more important than democracy. We now have an entire Republican Party and a small minority, small but sizable minority in the Democratic Party, the Joe Manchins and Kirsten Sinemas of the world, who believe that oligarchy is preferable to democracy. And then, of course, you've got all the captains of industry and the right-wing billionaires. To the credit of the billionaire class, I have to say, there are some who get it. The Warren Buffetts of the world who get that democracy is actually a good thing. But this is the debate that's being played out, and America is sliding into oligarchy very, very rapidly. And oligarchies tend not to last. They tend to flip into fascism within a generation, almost always. And that's the great danger here. James, I got to run, but thank you for the call. We'll be right back.